Focus, guys. I am not a professional camera person. I am just the mayor's wife doing this live. So I apologize for that.
How ready when you guys are.
Live from Sky High.
Or good morning, good evening. Can everyone hear me okay? One in the back? Awesome. So a couple housekeeping items to kind of get us started. We want to ask everyone to kind of silence your cell phones. That way while we're up here sharing some information, we're not having to worry about cell phones going off. That would be fantastic. I'm going to introduce all of our lovely command staff up here. And then at the very end, we will, I'll walk around with the microphone and we'll take questions then. So kind of hold your questions until the end, okay? So with us this evening, we have Monte Vista Police Chief George Dingfelder. We have Paul Duarte from the Colorado Department of Fire Prevention and Control. We have Mayor Dale Becker, City Manager Gigi Dennis, and Gene Glover, the County Commissioner of Rio Grande County. And my name is Courtney Arthur. I'm the Public Information Officer for Rio Grande County. So I'm going to go ahead and turn things over to Chief Dingfelder to get us started this evening. Like I said, please hold your questions until the very end, and we'll try to get everything answered for you that we can. Okay?
Thank you. Good evening. Good evening, folks. George Dingfelder, I'm the Chief of Police here in Monte Vista. So today, around 12:15. Our dispatch, the 911 center in Alamosa, was notified of a fire on the north side of Monte Vista. Police and fire immediately responded and found a large fire that was already out of control and was approaching structures. We immediately asked our dispatch to send out a reverse 911, as well as officers started going door to door and doing evacuations because the fire was spreading very quickly. Winds were very strong and gusting. At one point, some officers were even caught between a couple of fires, and luckily we were able to get out. And again, almost immediately, there were some structures that caught on fire. We struggled at times to stay in front of this fire and to stay out of the way of it because the winds and stuff were so strong. So we put out a request for multiple agencies. Fire put out a request for multiple agencies, and law enforcement and fire and emergency personnel from across the 6 counties responded. And up on the board is the current evacuation zone. It goes from Truman west, everything west of Truman, north of Newcomb, and east of Washington is our current evacuation zone. And then I'll introduce Paul Duarte here in a little bit, and he'll talk more about the fire parts. But that's our current evacuation zone. I'm going to guess there's probably still 20 or 30 homes that are evacuated in that evacuation zone. Initially, we had the evacuation zone clear out. We probably had close to 100 homes that were evacuated. We're not going to be able to go into a lot of details on a lot of stuff. I know one of the big things everybody wants to know is are there structures lost? Yes, there are structures lost. We have no idea at this time how many structures have been lost, but there are structures that have been lost. We have no reports of any injuries or missing persons at this time. So that's probably the best news that we have so far, is that there's no report of injuries and no missing persons. So I will tell you just a couple of steps that we're working on right now. Obviously, anytime you have a fire that burns structures or causes damage, we always treat those as a criminal investigation. We're not saying that it was intentional or anything like that, but anytime you have a fire that burns structures, somebody else's structures, we have to treat that as a criminal investigation. So we have a lot of resources that are here to help us. Colorado Bureau of Investigation has already responded, and we have our agency in Colorado Bureau of Investigation, as well as others, the Division of Fire Prevention and Control. They're here in assisting us with this. So a lot of this stuff is going to take us quite a while. We expect that evacuation zone to be in place for quite a while, because we do have an investigation that we need to do. I can't give you a time frame on when that's going to be released or any of that kind of stuff. Initially, we had the evacuation zone clear down probably another, I would guess, 5 or 6 blocks east of there. We have since backed that off a little bit at the advice of fire because they felt that we could narrow that evacuation zone a little bit. So with that, I know there's going to be a lot of questions afterwards. So let me introduce Paul Duarte. He's the Deputy Chief for the State Fire Prevention and Control. And I will say this, almost immediately when this took off and we realized it was this big of an event, I immediately requested that specifically Paul is a well-known firefighter around the state, and he's been on many of these big fires. So knowing that this was going to exceed our scope of abilities, I immediately requested State Fire to come in and to help us with the incident command. So we immediately made Paul the incident commander on this and with the rest of us supporting. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Paul. Paul?
Thanks, Chief. Hey, good evening, everybody. I'm going to try and use the microphone because my voice is kind of gone. Just a couple of quick things. I think that was a great kind of synopsis of what we have going on. The important thing that I wanted to talk about wasn't that state's here to help do all those kinds of things. I think the most important part is the work that all your volunteer firefighters did on this fire. There was an opportunity for things to be very bad. And so how many of you in this room know a volunteer firefighter that works in anywhere in the San Luis Valley? Make sure and thank them because they come to these kind of events right now very, very often. We just had one in Alamosa where we utilize mutual aid, and we do the same thing here. So all the fire departments in the San Luis Valley helping each other out whenever there's a need. And it's not just fire departments, it's law enforcement, it's EMS, it's the emergency managers. We had local, county, state, and federal resources on this fire. And so any of those folks that you know, those are the reasons that there wasn't more property damage done out there. They did a great job. Just quickly there, just to let you know kind of the amount of equipment we had out there. And I'll go over this list and I'll probably miss something, but we had a Type 1 helicopter. We had a multi-mission aircraft, which flies above, gives us really good information. We had 10 different law enforcement agencies assisting with evacuations and road closures. There was over 7 fire departments with multiple resources from each one of those departments. There was over 5 different EMS organizations represented here. And again, like I said, there was local, state, federal, sent some Forest Service folks over to help us with some very specific things. And so a big group effort to make things happen. The fire is in much better shape now. A couple hours ago, we had a little bit of break in the wind, so we were able to get that forward progress stopped. Now we're working around all the structures and making sure it's secure. You're gonna see smoke for a while. There's a lot of heavy material still burning, so be patient. I know everybody that wants to get back into that area wants to get back in as soon as we can. We gotta make sure it's safe for the folks that are working out there. We wanna make it safe so when you go back to your area also. So please be patient with us. We're working as quickly as we can to help you get back into your places. And I'll turn it over to the mayor. Thank you.
I got notes here, not much. So, as Mr. Duarte said, all the agencies that were here today, we had a lot of local people that were hauling water, construction companies, concrete companies, fertilizer companies. We were all hauling water into this, and it was great to see how the community comes together. So today, bear with me. I never thought I'd have to do this as mayor, because this isn't what I didn't sign up for this, because there's a lot of people that are here tonight because they can't get to their homes yet. It was a disaster for Monte Vista, our small rural community. but as we've talked about a lot of our small rural community, how we pulled it together with all the fire departments that came in and all the people that were here. And they were here to take care and save our little town. When I went through town at noon, I seen the smoke, but I figured somebody was burning the ditch somewhere. And it just, something got on fire, right? We see it all summer long, or in the spring. And then when I found out what happened, the really funny thing is none of the dang phones work today, but the only person I could talk to was George. So him and I were communicating a lot. I got there, and the company that I work for, I went out and we loaded water trucks. We started coming in with water. So we all pulled together. So for everybody that was involved with this, and I can't remember all the trucks that were here, the city of Alamosa, the county of Alamosa, Gardner Construction, Southwest Ready Mix in Alamosa was bringing water in here. So for everybody that's here, I am sorry we're here for this, but thank you all for being here. And thank everybody for what they've done to keep this all going. So thank you, and I'll turn this over to City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm Gigi Dennis, and just want to say my heart goes out. This is a very somber day for our community, as we know that our friends and neighbors are suffering. I'm here to tell you that we are working on an emergency declaration that will help bring additional resources. The Department of Human Services up in Del Norte is there to help. The local food bank has gift cards, and you can make donations directly to the food bank. Right now, we are not really prepared or set up to take clothing and blankets and such. That pretty much goes through the Red Cross, but we will let you know how those types of donations can be made if you so choose. And we are setting up through the Monte Vista Community Foundation, you can make a cash donation and just put down in the bottom that it's for fire victims, and we will work out a plan to get that money directly to those fire victims. This is a time we need to hold each other close, be thankful for what we've got, and show a lot of love for those that have lost something. If you've got animals, we can take animals over here at the McMullen building, and we can hold animals for a few days and try and get folks back lined up. So I think we're ready for questions.
So I'll go ahead and I'll walk around with the microphone for people who have questions. I'll kind of just work my way across the room. But first and foremost, I want to give a huge hand to all of our city council members, county commissioners, firefighter, EMS, police officers who are here and fought this today. They worked hard. They definitely deserve every bit of recognition that they are getting tonight. So a round of applause for them for sure. Our county commissioner, Gene, has something to say real fast.
Believe me, it'll be real fast, it always is. I just want to let you know our hearts go out. Thank yous have been said. Thank yous to both sides of the fire, firefighters and you folks. We at Rio Grande County are going to open up a declaration for disaster. It'll be opened up immediately. Our DSS and the commissioners have talked already. We're ready to step in and help. So just be patient with us to get to this first little part, and we'll do what we can to help you all out. Thank you.
So if you have a question, go ahead and just raise your hand for me and I'll kind of work my way around the room. So bear with me, okay?
Questions? Is the fire pretty much contained at this point?
So we've stopped forward spread, so the fire is no longer growing, but within that footprint of the fire, there's still some hot spots that we continue to work on.
Okay. Second question is, do they need volunteers watching animals, dogs, anything like that?
So we have two options for animals. Any large animals, we come here to the Sky High complex. As many of you know, this is a brand new complex. It's a convention and event center, and we've got the rodeo arena and everything out here. So large animals can come here, and then Connor Animal Shelter is where dogs and stuff, our animal control officer, I'm sure he might be here. But if there's a dog or if you're missing your pet or something, and we picked it up, we've taken it to Connor Animal Shelter.
Hi everyone. First off, I'm Zach Wearspoon. I work for the hospital and part of our emergency preparedness team. And just want to first off thank you guys for your response and your efforts today. One thing that we're curious about is electricity and home oxygen for patients. So if you guys have a status update on electricity, that would be great.
Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. I talked with Excel right before I come in here. I pulled my phone out and know this, but maybe she sent me a text on exactly how many I'll see if I can get that for you. Electricity, currently there's 162 currently without power. Estimated restoration time is 11 p.m. Natural gas, there's 5 customers are without gas service right now. And that comes from Excel. I don't know if anybody from REC, we have 2 electrical companies here, Excel, and then the local San Luis Valley Road Electric.
So what about for the, obviously there's been a lot of people that are obviously just lost their homes. Are they gonna have to go somewhere like La Puente, or are they gonna stay here at Sky High, or what's the plan on that?
Okay, a great question. We do have a shelter set up at the Nazarene Church, which is 228 Madison Street here in Monte Vista. And then plus we'll put them in contact with the Red Cross, as well as we have our victims advocates here, and then we also have mental health services here. So Nazarene Church, 228 Madison Street here in Monte Vista.
We'll be ready shortly. We're not quite ready to take people at the moment. We'll be ready the next hour or two.
You heard from Red Cross, they're about ready to, they're not quite ready, but almost. But prior to that, we were bringing everybody here to Sky High.
I got evacuated early. I don't even know if my house is up, and I would like to know that. And if we can at least look at some clothes if it is still up.
Okay, let's talk afterwards, offline on if you're inside the evacuation zone, that's going to remain closed. However, at some point, once fire tells us that it's secure enough or safe enough for us to go in, anybody that's within that evacuation zone, and we'll put this all out on Facebook as well as in a press release later, but anybody that's in that evacuation zone, once fire tells us it's safe, we will put that out and we will be in contact with you, and we will get you back into that area if you need medicine or clothing and stuff like that. But we're not going to be able to go in there until fire tells us it's safe. Were you in the initial evacuation zone?
I'm on West Sickles.
Okay, yeah, so that's still in the evacuation zone.
So what you're saying that it's gonna be a few days before we can get into our homes?
I wish I could give you an exact time frame. I don't know the exact time frame that it is. It's going to be once fire tells us it's safe to get in there.
Okay, what about the ones that have nowhere else to go? Now, my house is on a Sekia Drive. My house is fine. My yard is burnt in my shed. That's fine. But I need to get in my house.
Sure.
That's the only place I have.
Sure. Again, as soon as fire tells us it's safe, we will absolutely work with you to get in there and stuff. That's why we have the shelter set up for the Red Cross will work with you on that, as well as our victims advocate. And
okay, but we can't do that. I got my 2 dogs. I have to be at work tomorrow. Life goes on. I can't wait for you guys to say I can go to my house.
Okay, well, can we talk offline?
No, not offline. Everybody here is going to be affected by this. I was told that you guys are not going to let us into our homes for 2 to 3
3 days. Now, some of us have nowhere to go. Now, you cannot keep me out of my home. And you will not keep me out of my home.
It's a secured area right
It's
now,
not a
sir.
crime scene.
Okay.
The crime scene happened where it started, not where the stuff was burned.
It's a secured area right now, sir.
It's secure. I seen it.
We will
I
work,
was there earlier.
we will
Go to
absolutely
my
work
home.
with you. We will absolutely work with you. Let's have a conversation.
Working with me is letting me go to my home.
Okay, we will
Plain and
talk.
simple. I'm pretty sure a lot of these people in here agree with me. They need to go to their home. They have nowhere else to go. So technically, you or none of you can hold us back from going home. Unless our house is burnt, that's different. But that's it.
it's
There's no
secure,
ifs,
sir.
ands, or buts.
Okay.
It's our home. You
We'll
don't
talk to
pay
you.
for our home, you don't pay our bills. We pay our bills. We need to get back to our home. Plain and simple. I need to get to work tomorrow. I gotta pay my bills, I gotta get to my home. So when do we get to go into our homes?
Let's talk after this.
No, we talk now. This
we're not-
this is the point of the meeting, right?
We're gonna talk after this. Let us answer the rest of these questions and then me and you can talk
So you
directly
can't
afterwards.
answer.
So we're just curious, my mom lives at 1320 Civil Street and we have a fire hydrant right in front of our house and my mom's house was burnt, so does that fire hydrant not work?
I can't tell you, where your mom's house, I don't know where your mom's house was. I don't know location. I can't tell you if the fire hydrant was working or not.
Okay, cause there's one right in front of her house and her house is gone. So,
I'm sorry to hear that. I can't, I don't know where your mom's house was and I don't.
how about your firefighter was up there?
Okay.
Is he-
Let us know. Like, did it work?
Well, I don't know about the fire hydrant. I mean, it's just whether they had access and stuff to it. I don't know. I will have to look into that about the fire hydrants.
Okay,
But
well,
not, so it was only my house right there that burned. Not one right here, not one right here, and the fire hydrant right there.
we're just curious cause no other houses burnt in front of my mom.
Yeah, on the side or in front, like,
I think the thing that I could add about, a lot of times what happens in fires like this where we have really high winds is when a structure or a tree or something further upwind catches on fire, it'll then throw embers out ahead of it in the wind. And there's times it'll land in one area and not another. And so it doesn't mean that the fire hydrant wasn't working or there wasn't people there, but it could have meant that that just got started before somebody could get there. And we can't know where all those spot fires are gonna go. And then we can only put the firefighters in where they can get safely. And so unfortunately that happens ahead of the fire during really windy days sometimes.
So you don't know if that fire hydrant was used?
I do not know what fire hydrants were used, no. But the trucks have water on them too. They don't have to be connected to a fire hydrant the whole time.
Okay, yeah, I mean, it's right in front of our house, so.
You know exactly what Mr. Jones.
yeah, because Simple Street reached right into my yard, so there was no way they couldn't get in there. Or they couldn't have even knocked the fence to go down the fire still.
Charge the city.
And here's some of the biggest things to remember, is that it's about the safety of our firefighters and making sure that fire and EMS is safe to continue to be able to fight this fire.
Courtney,
I understand that.
Courtney, let's do this real quick. Let us finish the questions for the media and then we will continue on with.
Why is the media more important than us?
They're not
Okay,
important.
then take our
But that way
questions right now.
we can get
That's the
everybody,
point of the meeting.
anybody that's,
No,
the
that's the
community.
point of the meeting.
You
can answer these questions. You just don't want to.
That way we can
You guys have no.
we can have one-on-one with you. Yes, sir, we will. Go ahead.
Okay, so when we left out of the trailer, we left the door open. Is somebody patrolling the area
We have that entire area is
so
secure.
nobody can get in
Because
there?
if I,
We
when
have-
I go back home and I find something missing.
We
I'm
have
gonna
that
do something
entire
about it.
area secure.
That is a lie. My cousin is gonna be working security and they're not due here until about 6:37. So
We have-
won't be lying to us.
We have all kinds of officers out there.
Are they-
Doesn't mean they're watching
Are
the
they really
home.
watching what they're supposed to be doing now?
We have that area
Because half
secure.
of these cops down here don't do the job.
First you guys said you guys are doing the fire, now you're saying you're watching the home. Which one is it?
We have that area secure with law enforcement while fire is inside working.
I'm gonna take our media questions, and then if there's any more general questions, We can ask those, and then if they're one-on-one questions, we can address those after we're done
Why
today.
can't we put it on media?
Yeah, how come we can't act on media?
I have an online question.
We all want to know.
Hey, sorry.
I can hold this one.
Okay,
You're fine.
okay, sorry. I know it's early to ask, but you guys don't have a cause in point right now, you're investigating, right?
Well, we do not have a cause at this time, that is correct.
Do you have an acreage size?
17 acres.
17 acres.
17 acres, okay, perfect. And then just my last question, you know, on the way down here, we were seeing on Facebook, community members buying pizza, buying soda, the animal shelter, trying to reconnect any animals they might need to. I know the mayor spoke to it a little bit, but what is it like to just see this community come out and support one another?
That's what our community does. This whole valley does that. We're away from the world, right? We're the San Luis Valley. So when everybody pulls together, they pull together hard. So I've heard restaurants that are bringing meals in and doing all that stuff. So that's a great feeling because we are a community together. And we have our struggles, but we pull together for emergencies like this. And this was a bad day for Monte Vista. Not what we expected.
You said you had an online question.
Somebody asked if Marsh was going to be open tomorrow, Marsh School.
So I can speak to that. The district is gonna try to, we'll be sending out a school reach in just a moment, to let you guys know. I do not believe that Marsh will be open tomorrow, and we're wondering about another building, but, the superintendent will send out a school reach here, within the next hour, to let you know. But I'm not thinking that Marsh will be open tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy.
Thanks. Chief, just a couple of quick questions for you. First of all, hats off to you and your department, and the communication that you had with the media throughout the day today I thought was outstanding, so thank you for that. The second thing is, I heard some explosions, or what sounded like large pops, if not explosions. I wonder if you could tell us what those were. I'm assuming they were propane tanks, but I don't want to guess.
So I'm Calvin Brown, Assistant Chief for Monte Vista Fire. The explosion you guys heard was propane cylinders or air cylinders popping off the leaf valves. Probably a few little 5-gallon tanks exploding from the heat.
And at one point, I know there was some concern that there were larger tanks that were sort of in the path of the fire, is that correct?
Yeah, we secured
How
as
do you
many as
secure,
we could.
give us an idea how you secured those and whether or not there was any more danger to the community?
So on that situation, you have to fight the fire around it, get as close as you can, get water on it as quick as you can, get it cooled off.
Yeah.
Once it's cooled off, that pressure relief valve will sit back down and shut everything off.
Got it. Just another quick question, I have two more. If the wind were blowing in a different direction, could we be talking about Adams Street potentially being gone today?
I can't answer that right now.
Okay, fair enough. Last question. We lost power today. It's back on, at least for the radio station, so we're able to broadcast this. But my sense is that we pump water with electricity. Did we have any issues with that today?
A few issues, but they're working on getting all the power back as quick as possible.
Okay. But did we have issues pumping water today?
Negative.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Chief, do you want me to continue around the room? Okay.
I apologize if you've answered this, I came in a little bit late, but I'm curious about, has there been a damage assessment? I know we've lost some homes, and obviously electricity was affected. From the Monte Vista School standpoint, we're a little concerned about a fiber optic line that runs right through the fire area. Just curious if that was damaged today.
So the damage assessment will take place. Definitely too early in the fire to make that happen. We need to get the fire portion taken out of, and then we can come in and come in after that and make that happen for sure. So I can't speak directly to the fiber line or not.
Our house wasn't affected. We were wondering, we're both insulin and
pills, they didn't give us a chance to get nothing. And I'm on oxygen. And our house didn't get affected. When we go back in,
Are you inside of the evacuation zone?
we're on West Sickles.
We're right on the corner,
Okay.
it's that big greenhouse, and,
Okay, so for those still in the evacuation zone, after this, we can have discussion with fire, and we can discuss this about when we can get in there and when we can't. It's really gonna, because there's pockets, right? And Paul, if you wanna talk about it, there's pockets there. If fire tells us it's safe to get in there, absolutely, we will do everything we can to get you in there tonight.
Okay, yeah, our house wasn't affected, so we wondered.
yeah, there's nothing burned in that whole area, and this is like a life and death kind of thing. You
Sure.
know, we like to breathe and live normal lives, but, heck, me and my wife are gonna go out there with garden hoses, and after we see what was going on, I really appreciate the fire department, because they did a hell of a job. And I'm telling you, we had a property burned off the grid by the total, and it went down to the ground in less than an hour and a half. And Conejos County went out there, they did a good job as best they could. So I give you guys a lot of thanks, you know, but it's like, I'm sort of like with this guy, if it's not affected, there's no ashes, and it's safe, you know, I don't see anything else.
Yeah, absolutely. As soon as it's done, those still in the evacuation zone, we can move to another room, and have everybody else leave, and we can talk with you directly once fire, and we'll have Paul here so we can talk with you directly.
Is there any other questions that we need to address? And we'll kind of close everything down. If you have more personal questions for anyone up here, you're more than welcome to come up and ask them. But we'll kind of close this down.
Okay, a couple of real quick things. We will be sending out a press release tomorrow. That will be the official, the Monte Vista City Facebook page. City
Correct.
Monte Vista Facebook page will be the official place to get information. And we will be sending out a press release discussing this tonight, and then we'll send out an updated press release tomorrow. Okay, thank you all for coming. And those who are still in the evacuation zone, if you want to hang tight, or I'll see if there's another room available, and we'll take you directly over there and have a discussion.
You're gonna need this one, because everybody here is evacuated.
Yep. None of us can go home.
You guys
My
are,
house did not burn. I'm going to my house, because that's the only house I have. I have nowhere else to go at this point. And I have
That's give us answers now that we're all here.
Hey, guys, look, we understand.
If I have to, I will sit outside in my backyard and water my damn yard all
I'll do the
damn
same now.
night.
You guys, if you guys think that these people up here aren't doing everything they can, I was on scene to go through all this, and you guys, your patience is requested on this. I understand your frustration, but I've been with the chief today in the fire department and seeing what they're trying to do to make it safe for you guys, and that's what they have. You stick around, and he said he would answer it.
We want to thank everyone for coming tonight. We tried to answer your questions, and we'll touch base afterwards, okay? If you have any other questions, don't hesitate to come up and talk to our officials. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight.
On here.
Thank you, Monte Vista citizens. Keeps. As always, Monty Strong. Please do not run your water.
Those of you who are here in the evacuation zone, China Garden has provided dinner, so you can get a hot meal here tonight from China Garden. Thank you.